Well, the last of the U.S. and NATO troops have pulled out of Afghanistan earlier than the scheduled September 11th withdrawal date, and China claims that they have big plans for Afghanistan now that the U.S. and NATO are out of the way. For a look at the changing landscape of the Asian continent, let's bring in Gordon Chang, author of The Coming Collapse of China. Let's talk about what does that mean, Gordon? Here's what we always hear about Afghanistan. The Soviet Union failed to take control of it and got into trouble, got in a quagmire of its own there, and eventually got out. We went in there 20 years and haven't succeeded, as far as I can tell, at what we had hoped to accomplish, bringing democracy there and some freedom for the people. We accomplished some of that, obviously. So what does China think it can do, and how would the outcome be different?
Yeah, China believes that, first of all, it can extend its Belt and Road through Afghanistan, especially the Belt and Road's primary project is in Pakistan, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. They want to extend it up to Kabul. There's a copper mine that China really wants, and they just believe that they can develop relations with the Taliban. And, the administration of George W. Bush has conveniently forgot that before 9/11, China was supporting the Taliban. And indeed, there were many disturbing links between Beijing and terrorist groups. Well, Beijing can reestablish those, and they believe that one way they can do that is just to buy everybody off. I don't think they're going to be successful. Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires, and China definitely is an empire, especially in the western part of the country where you have the Tibetans and the Uyghurs and Kazakhs. That's where Afghanistan is, on China's western border. So this is a grand project that is going to bog China down.
I guess, yeah, and I guess I don't understand what they get out of it.
Well, they believe that they get some stability on their western frontier because they have more control. Okay. The Afghan-China border is very, very short, but nonetheless, it is a corridor. And so Beijing has been working very hard, not only with Afghanistan, but other countries on the western border. Okay. So I guess they feel that they can sort of stabilize things there.
All right. Now, Xi, the head of the Communist Party there, has been in power, well, he hasn't, but the Communist Power has been in power for nearly 100 years. And Xi has said, any foreign power who gets in the way will suffer cracked and spilt blood. What's his message, and who is he sending that message to?
He's sending that message to the rest of the world, especially to the United States. He talked about this in connection with Taiwan. But really, China believes that it should be bigger than it is today. They want territory in an arc from India in the south to South Korea in the north. So really what Xi Jinping was talking about on Thursday really was, look, that if you stand in our way in our plans of territorial aggression, we will kill you. Also, there was something even more ominous in that speech, which hasn't gotten attention. And that is, Xi Jinping said that the Chinese people are good at taking down the old world and building a new one. And what he really was referring to is China's notion during 2 millennia of imperial rule that China was the world's only sovereign state. That's what Chinese emperors believed. That's what Xi Jinping believes. So really what he was saying to Washington is, you believe you're a sovereign state? Well, forget about July 4th, because you should consider yourselves to be subservient and a colony of China.
Wow. You know, your book, The Coming Collapse of China, everything I see about China, it seems to be getting even stronger, is more of a threat to the United States today than at any time in my lifetime, as far as if I'm reading it right. So is it collapsing, or would you rethink your perspective on where it stands right now?
Well, in 2001, I said the Communist Party would fall in a decade, so I'm wrong about that. But China right now is dangerous, I think, because its leaders are seeing a closing window of opportunity. In other words, they see that the long-term trends are not in China's favor. So, for instance, demography, where China is probably going to lose 1 billion people in the next 8 decades. China can't feed itself. Increasingly, it's got a food crisis getting worse and worse every year. And last year was actually quite bad. You got an environment which is severely degraded, an economy which is stumbling, and China's just trying to intimidate people. So I think that China is extremely dangerous, as you point out, Bob. And in our lifetimes, China's never been more dangerous than it is right now, especially with that story that we saw that China's building 119 missile silos in the Gansu Desert. So this is a real indication that China intends to use nuclear weapons as a war-fighting tool rather than as a deterrent.
Yeah, that is frightening. But let's hope that the problems overcome it, just as the problems that the Soviet Union had overcame it, even as its military power got bigger. We'll have to continue the conversation in the future, Gordon. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.